Run It Back Nation, what is good? It is I, DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly. Lunchtime live every single Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at noon o'clock, all off season long. And maybe for the rest of the season. Maybe for the rest of it ever. Because why not, man? Let me know where you guys are checking in from, man. Are you at work? Are you at school? Are you at home doing nothing? Let me know, man. Let me know in the chat. Shout out to everybody in here, 44 people so far. Hit the like button on the stream. That helps me out greatly. This episode of Run It Back Philly is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Put the graphic on the screen, Eastwood. Where's my producer at? Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped.com using the promo code NOINTRO. Get the lawnmower 4.0. Take care of yourself down there, man. This is the perfect package. No, that's literally what it's called. It's called the perfect package. It's the perfect Manscaped package, but it will give you the perfect package. You get the lawnmower 4.0. You get the hedge trimmer, nose hair trimmer, man. What do you do walking around here with nose hairs, man? Come on, man. You got the crop preserver. That's some deodorant for your boys. And the crop reviver, man. It's like perfume for your gonads. Take care of yourself, man. What are you guys doing out here? Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code NOINTRO for 20% off and free shipping. What is up, my people? So a lot of mainstream media members had some opinions on the James Harden situation. A lot of people have opinions on my opinions of the James Harden situation. A lot of people agree. Some people are upset with the things that I'm saying. I just want to let you guys know I'm always just going to come up here and say exactly what I think. Whether I'm right or wrong is up to you, is up to the universe. I don't know. I just say the words that are in my brain into a microphone and broadcast it onto YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. By the way, go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, man. Give me a 5-star review. If you give me 4 stars, you're a fraud. I came across a Colin Cowherd podcast yesterday, and it was interesting because Colin Cowherd has this clip from his podcast titled "Easy Fix for the James Harden Philadelphia 76ers Mess." And I said to myself when I first came across that, there's no easy fix for this. There is absolutely zero easy fix for this situation. You were capped out. You had a player that didn't want to come back. You made a trade giving up the player that didn't want to come back, plus 2 role players, plus 2 first-round draft picks, 1 unprotected in 2023, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And you got back a player who, at least so far, appears to be a shell of his former self. That's what I'm saying. Not even close to what he was in Houston, and the chances of somebody getting that back at 33 years old are not very high. So those of you that are yelling at me every day because you have 16 James Harden jerseys and you idolized him for 10 years, I'm not going to apologize. I'm just saying, if I had to guess, I would guess this offseason is not going to turn James Harden into Houston James Harden. Rasan, what's up, my guy? Can't wait to hear from you in the Discord in a couple minutes if you feel like calling in and giving your opinion. Here's the clip from the Colin Cowherd podcast where he claims that he has an easy fix for the James Harden situation.
You know, Rick, I was thinking about this. In fact, I was thinking about this in Italy when because I was watching highlights, and I thought, you know, Daryl Morey probably made a promise to James Harden on a contract extension, right?
Yep.
But I don't believe you can find any of the last 5 champions, and I could be wrong. I'm just going off memory, that had a terrible contract. It's almost a deal killer Champions rarely have an absolutely egregiously bad contract. There's a lot of.
What does that even mean, actually, now that I think about what he just said? Champions don't usually have an egregious contract because champions are playing up to their potential. So how would their contract be egregious when they're being paid like a superstar and playing like a superstar? Is anyone else confused by that? Anyway.
A lot of things champions don't have. Not all are great defensively. Not all have 3 reliable scorers. Not all have a great coach. Is Budenholzer a great coach? None have a time bomb contract. And if you give Harden that,
why does he whisper in his podcast, by the way?
It's over.
Yeah.
You just limited. And I thought to myself, because of the way he laid an egg, the media and fans, if you break that promise, have no problem at all with it.
They don't.
And the owner could step in and go, we're not signing him, and Morey's off the hook.
They could.
All right, Colin. So Colin Cowherd thinks that Josh Harris pays enough attention to basketball to know what players are performing on the court. I mean, let's be serious. Josh Harris is in the process of purchasing the Denver Broncos. Josh Harris does not give a shit what is happening on the court for the Philadelphia 76ers. Josh Harris said, hey, a big-name GM, you're hired. Big-name coach, you're hired. Please do things to make the fans happy. I was going to say save this team, but Josh Harris doesn't care about basketball. He doesn't care about winning. He wants to make the fans happy for a couple more years to continue to sell tickets. The process was 6 years of selling hope to the fan base. Zach, what are you talking about? I'm a liar? What did I lie about? You're distracting me. Knock it off. The process was 6 years of selling hope to the fan base. Now Josh Harris and the ownership have to retool, reinvent themselves to come up with a new plan to sell tickets. Josh Harris is not looking at the court and saying, wow, James Harden didn't perform in Game 6. I really want to win a championship. Come on, bro.
That was my takeaway. I thought to myself, it was so bad that Morey will curry favor with the fans and the media in Philly, and sports radio in Philadelphia carries weight. And it was so bad the owner can step in and say, we're not doing it. Morey can just go, hey, what can I do? I tried.
He could. However, the agent and the players, superstar players, will know that Harden was promised and that they backed out of it. And how that plays going forward with other star players. They don't look at it as Harden didn't live up to his contract.
Okay.
They will look at it strictly as, no, he came over, you promised him a deal,
okay,
he broke it.
But players are also
basically what Pat Bev said.
They know Harden's a dog. Secondly, because of the emergence of Maxey.
Harden's a dog?
And the talent of Embiid, you don't really need another star for the next 3 or 4 years, and people forget. I mean, Maxey, Tobias.
I did not expect something that... I did not expect something that casual to come out of them. Well, I should have, man. All right, Colin, just tell us you didn't watch the Sixers this season. Tell us you didn't watch the Sixers playoffs. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I was showing this to try to listen to what you were saying and give some perspective, but do you think okay, so you think the Sixers are going to keep Tobias Harris at $180 million? Do you think Maxey is going to be a superstar level player next season at 22 years old? The craziest part about that statement was, let's hear it again, dude.
People forget. You don't really need another star for the.
What are you talking about? I just had this argument on Twitter for a little while in a thread because somebody basically, they were talking about the Bradley Beal situation and would you trade Maxey and somebody else for Bradley Beal? And like, hell no, I wouldn't do that. But somebody replied and said, all we need is bench depth. We have enough stars. All we need is bench depth. Listen, the Sixers bench is one of the worst in the NBA, of course. Yes, we would love to improve the bench. But in the playoffs, especially Doc Rivers, he's going to run about 8 players. The bench does nothing for you when Joel Embiid is getting triple teamed in the fourth quarter. So where are we getting this, the Sixers don't need another star idea? We just lost in the second round for the third year in a row. Last year, our air quotes other star completely didn't show up in the most important games in round 2. That star then had a little bitch fit and quit basketball, and I maybe quit basketball forever. We trade him. We bring in another star. We get to the second round of the playoffs. That air quotes star doesn't show up in the most important games in the second round of the playoffs, and we lose again. This is year after year of us trying to find another star to put next to Joel Embiid because he's a center, and if there's nobody else on the floor stepping up, all you have to do is triple team him, quadruple team him, quintuplet team him, put all 5 players on him, bring someone off the bench, put 7 or 8 guys on him. All you got to do is triple team Joel Embiid if there's not another star on the floor. So Colin Cowherd seems to think that Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey are enough, I guess, to win a championship somehow, some way. Or he just doesn't watch basketball.
Maxey and the talent of Embiid, you don't really need another star for the next 3 or 4 years, and people forget. I mean, Maxey, Tobias, Embiid, and you get another good player, you don't need a star for 3.
Okay, but here's the question, and I haven't looked closely enough at their books, but you're gonna have Harden for at least 1 more year. The very least, he's going to opt into his 47. Where I think the promise was, which almost makes it worse, promise was you opt into the 47, and we'll take care of you afterward. Don't make us load up on you now. Like,
I'd rather load up for 1 and move him.
Yeah, well, that's not, I mean, okay, so, well, however that goes, but here's the problem. So you sign him for 1 for, he opts in, right? You have him for a year.
Yeah.
Right? How are you going to move him? Like, you're going to have to trade him. You're going to do a sign-in trade. If you just let him walk, I don't think they're going to have cap room to just go and sign somebody. So that's where.
Oh, somebody's speaking facts. What's Colin going to come back with to that? You can't just, we don't need James Harden. See you later. That's why this franchise is absolutely screwed at this moment. Daryl Morey has a lot to do. So easy fix for the James Harden 76ers mess is literally not possible.
When you say.
But it was good clickbait, Colin. You got me. Now I'm getting the people with your clickbait, making my own clickbait.
Because I don't think Tyrese, Matisse, Tobias, and Embiid makes you a title contender.
Thank you.
Maybe you have more faith. I don't know how much better Tyrese Maxey is going to get. I think he's very good. I don't think he reaches like.
Is he 23 a game good?
Oof.
So because Embiid's 29, he's 23.
Well, but it's when you get your 23. I need him to be the guy at the end. Because I can't always count that I can, in a last second situation, I can't count that I can get the ball into Embiid's hands fast enough in a place where he can operate.
I just think I think the time bomb contract is a deal breaker for championships.
Well, I agree with you there. I believe that if you are the Philadelphia 76ers, while you would never say it.
What's this guy's name, by the way? Is that Bill Simmons? I don't know this guy's name. Where'd my chat go? I think I lost my chat. There it is. My bad. Give me a second here. I lost the chat. There it is. I need a producer. All right. Is that Bill Simmons? Who is it? Chris Boucher? I don't know if it's Bill. Why is that an LOL? I don't know what Bill Simmons looks like.
You're not looking at this strictly to the prism of
Butcher.
Winning a championship is the definition of success. If I'm a team that is always in the mix for the next 3, 4, 5 years, that's successful.
Oof.
That's the reality. But it's the reality because of it.
Exactly. Thank you, Rick. I like this guy. I'm going to listen to his podcast. Yeah, exactly. That's successful business-wise. Like I said, it's all Josh Harris cares about. You don't have to win a ring to make $1 billion. He just needs the team to consistently be in the conversation so we can consistently sell tickets, so we can consistently make the playoffs, sell hope, and continue on and on and on, and buy more sports teams and buy more franchises and buy more boats and houses and yachts and all that good stuff.
It's also the reality of with Embiid, because of his health, because here's the other thing. Like, he stayed healthy, and I give him all the credit in the world for playing with an orbital fracture and tearing his ligament in his thumb and all that. But this happens every year, and he's in the prime of his career. So even when he's in shape and he doesn't have a major injury that costs him a season, he breaks down physically somehow, some way. And I just feel like, somebody asked me the other day, like, do you blow it up? Do you just you need to start over? I mean, the other part is you're going to have Doc there he's got 3 more years on his deal. I don't know that Doc is taking you to another championship.
He's not. Rick Bucher's the man. Am I saying his name right?
So, while I would never advertise it, I look at this Philadelphia team as, I just want to be competitive. And if somebody falls down, if somebody has an injury, maybe we sneak through.
Boy,
but this idea that
that's a hard sell in Philadelphia. Boy,
but I don't feel like they're one piece away. I really don't feel.
Did Cowherd just take a little slight at Philly fans like he always does?
Boy,
but this idea that
that's a hard sell in Philadelphia. Boy,
but I don't feel like they're one piece away. I really don't feel like they're one piece away. There's so many flaws to them, whether it's coaching or your star player being fragile or the James Harden question. It's just, I don't know. And I don't know that Embiid, as my star player, and his demeanor and the way he when he didn't win MVP, that.
That was such a made-up narrative. Why are people running with that? What did Joel Embiid say about not winning the MVP? What did I miss? I don't understand it. He said, congratulations to Jokic. He deserves it he deserved it. Giannis deserved it. It could have been either one of us. It is what it is. I'm focused on winning a championship. When did he cry about not winning the MVP? I've never seen that clip, that press conference, nothing. I don't get it. It was Charles Barkley at halftime in the playoffs, literally making things up off the top of his head that weren't true. Joel Embiid's playing like this because he's upset that he didn't win it. Are you kidding me? You think Joel Embiid went out there in a playoff game and played like crap because he was sad that he didn't win the MVP? Makes no sense. Terrible take. I was on your side, Rick. I was enjoying you, Rick. It's all right. I still rock with you. I don't have to like everything you say. Same way a lot of people don't like the things I say and they still watch me.
I can't be my emotional leader. Draymond can be my emotional leader. Chris Paul can be my emotional leader. A guy who says, when you guys just vote who you want to vote for, and I don't know if I'll ever win. Like, dude, move on. You didn't win MVP, okay? But you took a nice step forward.
By the way, he was in a press conference and was asked the question. He didn't go on Instagram Live to complain about it. He didn't hold his own, like, I need to have a press conference to talk about how I didn't win MVP. He didn't post it on Twitter. He was sitting there. They asked him about it. He answered the question. That is not the same as moping and crying.
You got plenty of people saying that you should have won MVP, and you should be looking at how do I win a championship anyway. So what are we doing here?
Anyway, Rick Bucher's take on the Sixers situation was spot on, I thought. I thought that was spot on. They're not one piece away. Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey are not enough to win a championship around Joel Embiid. Just not Tyrese Maxey at this point in his career. A bucket getter, a dude that can come out and when he's on and when he's feeling confident and when he's feeling free and good, and he sees the ball go in the hoop a couple times. He dropped 38 in a playoff game. And helped you beat the Toronto Raptors in the first series. Had a couple other pretty good games, but then kind of disappears at times. Just a young player, who like the players don't dominate the playoffs when they're 22. That's another thing that I don't understand about what Colin Cowherd is saying. What player besides LeBron James and Luka Doncic right now, like very, very rare instances, and Luka Doncic almost doesn't count because he was playing professional basketball against grown men when he was 15 years old in Lithuania. And shout out to Luka Doncic, by the way, for shattering all of the negative things that people were saying about him coming out of that draft. What player at 22 years old? Ja Morant. Good call, B-boy. Thank you for that. Ja Morant. That's a very rare one also. But those are superstars. Do we really expect Tyrese Maxey to be a superstar at 22? I would say he could be one at 25, 26. Zion Williamson? Whole lot of what the hell are you talking about? You got to put LOL when you put something like that, man, because that was a clear joke, right? All right, check it out. So, look, Pat Culp, thank you for the $2 super chat, man. Thank you for that. I don't know if you were trying to type a message there or you just wanted to send a super sticker, but thank you for the support, as always. Zion averaged 27 points per game, yeah, and then he got hurt again, and now he can't even get on the floor because he can't get under 300 pounds. Luka is Slovenian. Oh, my bad, dude. Lithuania, Slovenia. Come on, man. I grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania. You think I know the difference? Listen, Pat Beverly and JJ Redick were on First Take yesterday, and I think people were reacting to something that they said today or an argument that they had today that I missed that. And I can't play ESPN clips on the show. I'll get kicked off the internet. So I just took some notes on what they were saying yesterday, and I want to give my opinion on some of the things that they said. Patrick Beverley was up there, and he said the first thing he said was his opinion on Doc Rivers, which is funny because like he played for him, he likes him. I don't know, is that really an assessment of a coach? Pat Beverley said, Doc Rivers ain't going nowhere. You don't let a coach like that leave. Doc Rivers ain't going nowhere. You don't let a coach like that leave. A coach like what? An arrogant maniac who yells at reporters for an entire season, calls everybody stupid, refuses to do the most obvious things that should be done, refuses to adjust, blows more playoff leads than any coach in the history of the damn universe. You don't let a coach like that leave. Well, guess what? The Orlando Magic let him leave. The Boston Celtics let him leave. the Los Angeles Clippers let him leave. And now he's in Philly, and he's not gonna win a championship here either. So what does that even mean? You don't let a coach like that leave. One championship, hasn't gotten to the NBA Finals in 14 years. I mean, people talk about this guy like he has 7 rings. People talk about Doc Rivers like he's Phil Jackson, like he's Greg Popovich. Even he talks about himself like he's Greg Popovich. Blows my mind. But anyway, that's a biased opinion, obviously. It's Pat Beverley. He played for him. Another thing Patrick Beverley said was saying James Harden doesn't deserve a max contract after half a season is unfair. Unfair. I would like to see Dawn Staley too, new era. Let's do it. Let's do it. First female NBA coach, Dawn Staley in Philly. I am 100% for that. Saying James Harden doesn't deserve a max contract after half a season is unfair. So a player who has now quit on 2 different teams, appears to be a shell of himself, doesn't even look the same, doesn't move the same, and you guys can cry hamstring injury all you want. I don't see him on an injury report. I was told that he was perfectly healthy. He dropped the 26-point triple-double and was running the concrete stairs in the arena. I was told he was healthy. So the hamstring injury thing doesn't count. It's not there. It doesn't exist. It's you just reaching and grabbing for something. So when a player looks like James Harden at 33 years old, you're supposed to say, oh, well, it was only half a season. Yeah, he looks like he's definitely on the decline. There's not really anything to pointing toward him going on the incline anytime soon. Like what has shown me, it's not his history it's not his history of off-season work. So me as a GM, I'm supposed to sign this guy to a 5-year max contract and pay him $67 million when he's 37 years old, and he just put up 11 points in a pivotal playoff game at 32 years old. Now, what kind of asinine, just totally maniacal decision would that be business-wise? What? Come on, bro. That's ridiculous. Saying James doesn't deserve a max contract is unfair. They don't live in the regular world. Saying he doesn't deserve $300 million is unfair. There's a lot of unfair things in the world. That isn't even close to any of them. So JJ Redick claps back at Patrick Beverley. 227 people in here. Please hit the like button. I would appreciate that. JJ Redick claps back a little bit at Patrick Beverley, and he says, he gives some advanced statistics, and I'm going to be a fan of advanced statistics for the first time in my life. JJ Redick threw out 2 advanced statistics that prove exactly what most of us are saying and disprove what you guys are coming at me with every day, trying to tell me he's the same. It's just the fact that he's trying to get used to playing alongside Joel Embiid. He just needs to get acclimated to the team, the team chemistry, and on and on and on. It's all the things you're saying. JJ Redick threw out 2 numbers right here, and I need you to listen very closely if you didn't watch the first take yesterday. James Harden's blow-by rate, the percentage of him dribbling past a defender one-on-one, went down from 45% to 30% in 3 seasons. James Harden's blow-by rate, which is literally what he lives on, that's his whole game. Blow by your defender, Then the next play, they're backing up because they don't want you to blow by. Then you can hit the step back. Everything he does lives on the blow by. His blow by percentage went from 45% to 30%. Come on, bro. His top speed has gone down from 19 miles per hour to 16 miles per hour. So he is 3 miles per hour slower, and his blow-by percentage went from 45% to 30%. Daquan Adams, I'm going to block you again for the clown emoji, bro. Why can't you have sports conversations without clown emojis and calling people stupid? Are you 7 years old? I need to know. Please tell me, are you 7 years old? Daquan says, LOL, you do know all that has to do with him being in shape. Yes! Yes, I do know that. He's out of shape. That's literally the point that we are making. He's been getting more and more out of shape for 3 seasons. So you're agreeing with me, right? You're agreeing with me and calling me a clown. Of course it has to do with him being out of shape. That's the entire point of what we're saying. What are we supposed to? Oh, he's just out of shape. Give him a max contract. That makes sense. I mean, what? You're defending him by saying the thing that we're saying about him? All right. Let's go over here for a second. Look at this. For those telling me, some of my fellow YouTubers tell me also, James Harden never played a fast game. He was always a kind of a slow, played an old man game. A lot of people try to tell me, basically, that James Harden always played this way. So, here's a short clip of his Houston highlights on Twitter. Let's watch them and cry because we will never have this version of James Harden. Look at it. Look at this, man. Bro, he's about 40 pounds lighter. He's about 40 pounds lighter. I mean, are you serious? You got a lot of work to do in one off season, James. You got a hell of a lot of work to do in one off season. He's just heavier and slower than this right now. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Where's the timeline at, man? Where's that at? Good Lord, that was quick. Oof. My goodness. Listen, I would love nothing more than to get this version of James Harden. But what are the odds at 32 years old after 3 off seasons of being out of shape? What are the odds? Somebody tell me. What are the odds? 0 to 10 in the chat. And I'm not just up here hating for no reason. Like a lot of people just think I come on here and hate because I like to hate people. I like to hate players. I like to run players out of town. Who's going to be the next? Who's going to be the next? He comes back this offseason and looks like that. I'll sit up here and tell you I was wrong every single day. Oh, my God. It was unguardable. That step back was totally 100% unguardable. It was unguardable. And that's why the guy averaged 37 points per game that year. That's why he has 60-point triple-doubles. That's why he was on top. He was on top. And I don't think it's coming back. What do I got next? What's next on the agenda? All right, watch this. My guy Heat Check, okay. Quick 3-minute video titled James Harden infuriated Joel Embiid with this play.
Check out
I don't know if I want to do volume on here.
the sequence. 10 in the fourth, the Sixers bring the ball up, but as Harden gets it stolen.
Shout out to Heat Check.
Sequence. Down by 10 in the fourth, the Sixers bring the ball up, but as Harden gets it stolen, check out how cool.
Yo, wait a minute. Look at Maxey. Maxey's like, yo, what are you doing? Also, this was a terrible pass. I'm not sure exactly who Maxey's yelling at. Oh, I think he's yelling at Tobias, actually. Tobias goes to, like, kind of set a screen. Doesn't really set one. James doesn't really go around it. Not sure. Yeah, Maxey's expecting him to go around this screen. So Tobias doesn't set a screen and Harden doesn't move.
But as Harden gets it stolen, check out how cool he is about
Oladipo finishes.
Jogging back and watching Oladipo lay.
Yeah, Harden gets the ball stolen and just walks back down the floor. And this is effort right here. You're not going to look like this is effort. The Jimmy Butler and James Harden are side by side. And Jimmy Butler doesn't even run hard. He jogs, but he still runs twice as fast as James.
Cool he is about it. Jogging back and watching Oladipo lay it in. The funny thing is, the very next play, just seconds later.
Yeah, he was yelling at Maxey right there.
Just seconds later, Harden goes into an unnecessary dribbling exhibition, going nowhere for like 10 seconds, and eventually gets it stolen again. He packed his bags to Cancun.
And that was the one where the fans just started booing like crazy because they had seen enough.
Once again in an elimination game and basically did not show up.
And the backlash was scary. What up, everybody? My name is Stefan.
Stefan, I love your YouTube intro, man. I have so many questions, but I don't have time.
And this is Heat Check. Let's get into it.
I cannot believe that he had just 2 shot attempts in the second half of Game 6 at home when he should have been fighting to keep his team alive. So basically, the Sixers just did all of that chaos in the trading block to get rid of a guy who doesn't shoot the ball when the team needs him to, just to get a guy who absolutely did the same thing and cost them the series. I mean, seriously, as the ball bounces right here, look at what.
This is what I said like 5 different times. Him and PJ Tucker in the same spot. He doesn't move.
Harden and Butler are standing, but Jimmy literally runs past the Beard, who doesn't seem to care at this point, and you can notice that by his defensive stance as well. Not engaged, hands are down, so Butler just raises up for a practice shot and splashes it. As he goes back, he says, wow, and I'm assuming this is in disbelief of how the Sixers basically gave up and allowed him to do all of that. So after the game, as he was going to the locker rooms, he screamed at the Sixers for not giving him the max and picking Tobias Harris over him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we would have given Jimmy Butler the max. He didn't want Brett Brown. They chose Brett Brown over him, so I guess if that counts as not giving him the max, fine. They didn't choose Tobias Harris over him. I didn't get to comment on this, I don't think. I still don't understand why he said that, because the Sixers did not sit back and say, if we could have Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris, we'll take Tobias Harris. That's not what happened at all. They said, Jimmy, if you don't like Brett and you want to leave, you can go. And he said, fine, I'm going to Miami. And they said, crap, we lost Jimmy. Now what are we going to do? We have to sign Tobias Harris because we can't lose both.
Tobias Harris over me?
So
In
I
his
don't
post-game
understand
interview,
that.
Jimmy said that he would love to have stayed in Philly and played with Embiid.
Yes. I still wish I was on this team.
I definitely love the Miami Heat, though, man. I'm glad that I'm here, but I got so much respect and love for Joel Embiid.
And Joel said the same thing as well.
Obviously, that's my guy. It's my brother. Like I said, I'm happy for him. I wish he was my teammate.
Why does everybody have to rub it in? Why does everybody have to rub in how dysfunctional and just absolutely poverty this franchise is? Why does everybody have to rub in the fact that we can't do anything right? Even if it's right in front of our face, we can't do it right.
I still don't know how we let him go. I wish I could have gone to battle with him still, but...
Embiid also kind of sneak dissed his teammates, which I thought was kind of funny.
You look at someone like PJ Tucker, great player. It's about what he does.
Yo, Embiid might go to Miami now that I think about it, man. He loves Jimmy. He's shouting out PJ Tucker. He probably likes Eric Spoelstra. Who doesn't like Miami? If I'm Joel Embiid, I'm getting the hell out of here as fast as possible. I'm not going to lie to you.
He's with so much energy, and he's tough. Like, he's just physical. You know, they have a few of those guys, whether it's Bam. And, you know, since I've been here, I'll be lying if I said that, you know, we've had, you know, those type of guys. Nothing against.
I never actually listened to this whole interview. He just clowned the whole management, ownership, process.
What we have is just the truth.
And he's totally right. He played injured and gave everything he had to give the Sixers a chance to win, and to see the rest of them, especially the guy who was supposed to help him get to a championship, play the way he played, I really feel for Embiid.
That's not what some of y'all say. Why are you always up here blaming James Harden? Why don't you blame Joel Embiid? Why don't you blame the only guy that's showing any heart on the floor, playing with a broken face and a torn ligament in his thumb? Why don't you slander him? Absolutely ridiculous deflection by some of you guys, man. Can't wait to hear it, by the way.
At
Rasan.
this point, it's almost certain that Doc Rivers will not be coming back, and the Beard said in his post-game interview that he will opt in and play there next year. So we'll see what the future holds for this team, but at the moment, there are a lot of things that need to be resolved.
What are your thoughts about how Philly ended the season? Let me know in the comments. That's it for now. Subscribe and talk to you in the next one.
Peace out, Stefan. Thank you for that breakdown. Yeah. So that's the heat check video. And again, like, you know, people want to say injured. People want to say whatever you want to say. I mean, him being out of shape is not an excuse. He should be in shape. He should have been in shape for 3 seasons. I don't know what else to say about it, man. But you're not gonna get the Joel Embiid slander out of me. Joel Embiid's the only reason the Sixers are ever anywhere close to the first round, the second round. He's the only reason. Do you think this James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and that supporting cast would have won a playoff series without Joel Embiid? They would have got swept. They were on their way to getting swept by the Miami Heat. And Joel said, I got this. Put on the mask, went in there, won 2 games for you, gave you more life, gave you some hope. And you want to slander Joel Embiid. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, man. Rasan, my guy, is in the Discord. Rasan is totally sick of hearing me slander James Harden. And I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So there you go, man. What's up, Rasan? Maybe Rasan fell asleep listening to me go over the heat check video. What's up, man?
You hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you. Wait a sec, just 1 second. Can everybody in the chat here give me a yes in the chat if you can hear Rasan? Everything should be fine. And just to preface this, me and Rasan are cool. I think we can have a grown-up sports debate without, getting personal. And I think I can do that. I think you can do that. So, go ahead, man. What you got to say for me?
Yeah, most def, man. It's always just sports talk at the end of the day. But, I definitely just disagree with – okay, let me start off by saying, because I know a lot of people are going to think that every James Harden fan is, like, delusional or whatnot. Let me speak for all Harden fans out there, because I'm saying I actually do see some – Harden fans out there that say kind of crazy stuff. Listen, let me be the representation. I got us.
Well, I want to. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but are you a fan of a particular team or just James Harden?
I mean, I'm a Sixers fan. I'm always a fan of the team he's on. Whatever team Harden's on, I'm a cheer for that team.
All right, so you were a Houston Rockets fan when he was in Houston.
Yes, I was cheering for the Rockets every year when we were getting bounced out, by the Warriors and whatnot. So, yes, I've been a fan of all of his teams, even when he was on the Nets.
I mean, if you don't have ties to a particular city, I guess I can understand it. My family's ingrained in Philadelphia, so I can't get down. That's just not how I would get down. Iverson went somewhere, and I didn't care what the jersey was or what the team was. But that's just – we're two different people. Anyway, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's facts. And see, I'm actually from a city that doesn't have Grand Rapids. We don't have our own team. We got the Detroit Pistons. That's the nearest team to me, and they suck. So I've always kind of been more of a player guy. So I just liked Harden as a player and kind of rooted for his team. But anyways, let me get going. Okay, I want to get rid of this narrative of Houston Harden. Okay, like the narrative is we won't get Houston Harden back. You are 100% correct. Houston Harden, he hasn't been Houston Harden since he left Houston, okay? I would rather people be saying right now, can we get Brooklyn Harden back, who was still an MVP candidate? He wasn't. Listen, when he was in Brooklyn, that was not Houston Harden. He completely changed his game. Like, when he was in Houston, he was putting up supernatural numbers, 55, 53, 60, like back to back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that level, I don't think he's going to get back to putting up those numbers for sure. No, let's throw that out the window. But I'm very optimistic that he can get back to the numbers that he was just putting up last year in Brooklyn, where he was an MVP candidate. Let's not forget, okay, those were not Houston numbers. They were very similar to the numbers that he put up this year, but he had better efficiency doing it because he didn't have the injury at the time, okay? Now, the Houston Harden, let's please everybody in the chat, stop saying that. Like, he's not going to get back to Houston Harden at 30, 32, 33, because that's just not – come on now. He's not putting up 50, 40. It's just not – but he can be a valuable point guard. Now, the next thing that I wanted to touch on, Melly was talking about yesterday. He was like, I wish we would have got Halliburton or Beal over Harden.
Yeah.
Let me tell everybody this, or everybody needs to understand this. A facilitator is the most powerful thing a player in the NBA can be. Do you want to know why? A facilitator beats a pure scorer. He beats everybody because he elevates everybody on his team. People are underestimating a pure facilitator. Like, I'm not going to say Harden didn't put up the scoring numbers. He didn't.
Right.
But all time, let me name some names for you. Draymond Green, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic. Those, when Chris Paul was on the OKC Thunder, nobody thought that the Thunder would make the playoffs with CP3 and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But how did they do it?
I agree.
Because CP3 is so elite at passing that he was elevating his team.
And he always scored when he needed to.
He did.
And he didn't score when he needed to a couple days ago. And what happened?
No, we lost.
Facilitator.
Listen. I'll say I can admit when Harden, he didn't score, but also let me talk about that game 6 as well, because a lot of people are viewing this as Harden took 9 shots. Now let's go behind the scenes here.
They're viewing that like that because he did.
No, yeah, he did.
They're not just viewing it like people are choosing to view it that way. That's what happened. Anyway, go ahead.
It is, but let's go behind the scenes. Even I looked at some numbers. When is the last time you've had a player take 25 shots and have had another player take 22 shots and have had another player take 20 plus shots? It hasn't happened in a very, very long time. This is a perfect example. I was watching the Boston series, right? In game 6, Grant Williams took 3 shots. Tatum had over 30 shots, right? Yeah. Game 7, Grant Williams takes 20 plus shots. Everybody else's shot attempts go down.
Yeah, of course.
Al Horford took 7 shots.
I would love for James Harden's shot attempts to go up and Tobias Harris's shot attempts to go down and George Niang and Danny Green's shot attempts to go down. Like, yes, that's what happens. We want him to be shooting the ball more than those other players. That's what a superstar is. So he's not supposed to shoot because he needs Danny Green to chuck 12 threes?
No, this is what I'm saying. It's just that there's not enough time in a game for enough shots to go around. There was plenty of possessions in that game 6. Now, you had to watch it. We all watched the same game 6 where I watched Joel shoot over like multiple defenders.
Because his point guard would not shoot. He had to. Nobody else was shooting the ball. He's not saying, yo, James, you're on fire, but I'm taking on a triple team. If James was hitting the shots, he'd be giving him the ball left and right. Joel was the only one doing anything in that third quarter, and he's the most injured player on the team.
Listen, okay.
There's no justifying 2 shots in a second half. You can't justify it by saying other players need to shoot too. This is literally a Ben Simmons argument. This is the same thing I heard last season. Well, he's a facilitator. He's not supposed to score. Yes, he is.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I feel, all right, Philly fans, like you just said, you're not going to slander Joel Embiid, which I get that to an extent, but okay, let me debate me on this. Embiid is the mirror of James Harden as a big man. This is what I mean, trajectory of their careers. Yeah. They've both had great regular seasons, performed great, and haven't been able to make it far. They're both hungry for a championship, right? This is the only difference. Harden hasn't been in Philadelphia for you guys to defend him, which is why it frustrates me. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this is what I mean. If Harden had been in Philly, putting up his Houston numbers, right, and in Philly, and then he goes on this 1-season decline, you cannot tell me that Philly fans would still be here calling him washed. They would literally be sitting here like, no, let's give him more time. Let's give him more time. But because you didn't see that production from him in your city, it's more like no, he's washed. I thought it was a perfect analogy.
Yeah, because he has 1 year left on his contract and he wants a 5-year max contract. What are we supposed to say?
Oh, no,
you're not going to give this guy a max contract. That's not a narrative. It's a fact. What's a narrative? What does the word narrative even mean in this situation? It's a fact. He has 1 year left. He played like shit. We're going to see him play for another year. No, we don't want to give him a 5-year contract.
It's a narrative that he wants a max. I personally, I don't think he should take a max. I'm not delusional. I don't think he should take a max.
You're talking about you're telling me James Harden, flashy designer outfit, hanging out with rappers in nightclubs. James Harden doesn't want a max contract. He clearly cares more about the money than anything that has to do with basketball, or he wouldn't have went 3 seasons without working out.
Yo, that's completely false. With all respect, Eastwood.
I don't think you've ever hung out with James Harden or talked to him.
No, listen. It's just a narrative that, bro, he wants to win more than anything right now. Like, what are we talking about? Money. This is one of the top 10 paid guys in the NBA. Like, he's made a plethora of money. He has his own shoe. What are we talking about here? He's in multiple commercials. He doesn't want the money. He doesn't need a max.
Nobody needs a max. No player in the entire league needs a max. Nobody needs $300 million. Of course not. Josh Harris doesn't need $10 billion. Does that mean he doesn't want to make another $1 billion? Of course he does. That's like saying the owner of Amazon is probably going to go feed third world countries because he doesn't need another $1 billion. Of course he doesn't need it, but he's going to go get it. I guarantee it.
Okay, look, we'll see. Okay, we're going to have the max conversation after the deal is made for sure, because I don't think he will take the max personally, but that'll be a situation we talk about another time. But I do want to get back to this. No, we're not letting Joel off the hook.
All right, I gotta hear this. Because your boy shot 2 shots. Your boy shot 2 shots in the entire second half. I gotta hear this.
Okay, look, because a lot of people, you're viewing it a certain way, but I see everything I swear I see it from a logical standpoint. I seen the makeup of that game 6 before the game started. I swear to you. I watched the presser after the game 5 or whatever. And I was wondering why Joel was making some of the comments that he was making. Honestly, like he literally said, I'm in a lose-lose situation. You know, if I go out there and play bad, you know, people are like, Joel, why, when we have another game, why are you talking about you're in a lose-lose situation? Bro, go out there
because he was trying.
Play.
He did, and he was trying, and he couldn't do what he needed to do. He's shooting a knuckleball because he doesn't have a thumb.
But listen, I'll tell you what he did. The way that you're all saying Joel went out there, he gave heart. Joel painted this narrative for you guys to say this before the game started. That's why he made those comments. Listen, you don't understand how the game was played. And then I watched Harden go out there, force feed Joel the ball, watch Joel take fadeaways so he could get 25 shots in a game just for people to go out there and say Joel gave heart. That's bull. That's bull.
So Joel had a plan with James Harden. Hey, this game, give me the ball so I can shoot 25 shots so I can live up to what I said yesterday before the game. Hey, this is a conspiracy theory now?
No.
Or was he just on the floor trying to win the basketball game when his point guard was refusing to do anything with the ball?
Okay, so you're painting it as Harden was refusing, but there's
he shot twice.
Listen, if I had my own podcast and was able to just show clips, you know how you do, I promise you, I'm not making this up. There's multiple clips. Harden is wide open at the 3. I watched it. Joel was in the paint. Harden is wide open at the 3. I'm like, pass him the ball. Joel forces a fadeaway that he misses. He did it multiple times.
Are we talking about the third? We're probably talking about the third or the fourth quarter, right? Because as a game goes on and you start to realize we're down by 13 because nobody's doing anything, I have to go do it all by my damn self. Now, if you are wide open, I'm not giving you the ball because you showed me no effort for 2.5 quarters and I'm trying to win the damn game. Everything's relative. Joel's not just out here shooting because he wants to get 25 shots off. He's trying to win the damn game. If nobody's stepping up, he's going to shoot it 35 times.
Okay, and also another thing that I want to touch on is how we keep saying Joel. Listen, we know Joel is the MVP of this team, and I'm seeing what everybody's saying in the comments too. I'm not sick. I see everything people are saying. But the fact that we're trying to make it seem like Joel is the be-all, end-all. Joel, yes, we need Joel to win for sure. But if Harden isn't there game 1 and 2 and we have Joel, we still arguably lose those games as well. Let's not act like we don't need both guys. We need both. Let's not act like if Joel is here, we still put up like we're going to win. Like, no. If Harden wasn't there to run the offense, to make everybody flow,
they would lose in the second round.
We don't make it far.
We didn't make it far with him there.
We'll lose in the first round. So
I agree. Joel needs, I say this all the time, Joel needs perimeter creators to do things so he doesn't have to shoot over 4 guys an entire game. Yes.
Question.
Who said we don't need Harden? We're mad because we didn't get the version of Harden that we do need to get past the second round. So here we are again.
Listen, though, we don't need Houston Harden. We need Brooklyn Harden, who was still it's his efficiency that's destroying us.
I can agree with this part. I can agree with this part. If you believe he can get back to Brooklyn Harden, I can agree with that. Efficiency, shooting the ball when you're open, shooting a decent percentage, taking your guy one-on-one when it's time to do that, taking the pressure off of your center who's getting triple teamed the whole game. I agree. If you think he can get back to that, then I'll sit back and watch, and I hope he can. I personally don't think he can. But what I saw in Game 6 was not that. He shot it twice in the second half. It's Ben Simmons numbers.
Yeah, I get that. But, okay, all I'm saying is Pat Beverley, I'm glad you brought up Pat Bev. He said it perfectly. And he was talking about the max, but he was like, you don't take this sample size and like basically say a guy can't do anything anymore. Like, this is my only problem. It's not with me, with you saying he had a bad season or whatever. It's with, like, you and Melly trying to permanently pin this play on him as if he can't get better or this is what he's going to be, for the rest of his career. I don't agree with that.
I haven't looked it up, but go show me a player that declined at the age of 31, 32, and 33 that went into an offseason and got it back. That's why we're saying it doesn't look like there's any sign showing us that that's going to happen. Age is a real thing. You don't go up when you're 33.
Okay, I think it's important here that while we're sitting here talking about Harden, we still realize that as bad as a season that we can say that he's played, he was still an all-star.
He was good at times, for sure. He was good at times. We needed him to be that good.
He was still an all-star, okay?
If he was 27, I would agree with you right now that he could get it back.
Listen.
Go ahead.
He was still an all-star, so I really don't see the lack of – okay, just listen to my analogy because I really thought of a perfect one, honestly. Perfect. Right. Steph Curry, he's the greatest shooter of all time, correct?
Yep.
We all know this. We've seen him shoot for years and years and years.
Yep.
He fractures his wrist. I wanted to say wrist because that's a part of shooting, how Harden's hamstring is a part of burst. I wanted to say the wrist. He fractures his wrist, right, for a season.
Mm-hmm.
For a whole season, he shoots 27% from three.
Yeah.
He's shooting 38% right now. He shoots 27% for an entire NBA season.
Yes, and every game he was listed on the injury report with rehabbing his wrist. It was known publicly that he was rehabbing the wrist from the year before, and it was obvious. There's no list of James Harden's hamstring injury. That's just something people are pulling out because he looked like crap in the playoffs.
Yo, okay, this is what we're going to do, though.
His hamstring was injured. His hamstring was injured. No. He went the whole offseason, couldn't work out because his hamstring was injured. But in the fourth game as a Sixer, he dropped a 26-point triple-double and ran the stairs in a stadium with a hurt hamstring? Or was it healthy then and then he hurt it again? Has it been hurt the whole time? Or did it get healthy and then he hurt it again?
Okay, well, let me answer. So when he was in Brooklyn, yes, his hamstring actually was hurt when he sat out that full a month or whatever, how long, I can't remember how long he sat out. He sat out in Brooklyn for like almost 2 months straight though, before he got to Philly. So those first 4 games, his hamstring literally felt brand new. He wasn't on it for 2 months.
So he injured it again?
Yes, I believe he did. Like, because after a certain point, you all that wear and tear on it, you're going to re-injure. All those step backs he does, I think.
So he's
not re-injured.
So he's going to So he's going to re-injure his hamstring all the time. Then he's going to get healthy, play 4 games, and it's going to hurt again.
Listen, it's a difference. You're not, because listen, he has a full season of film. He has a full season of playing like this to now adapt. It's you got to understand. We're talking about a player. I need more optimism from y'all. We're talking about.
I've been watching this franchise fuck up for 20 years. You're not getting any optimism from me.
Listen, but we're talking about a player, right, who studied the game so much that he created his own little tricks, his own moves. If you're telling me that you think that he's not going to go into this offseason and literally study all of the things that he can do to now score or whatever to play good,
I hope he does.
I don't agree with that.
I hope he does. I don't think we've accomplished anything. I am glad you came on and gave your opinion. I'm glad you said what you wanted to say. You believe that he could get that back. I hope you're right. If he comes out and looks like Brooklyn level James Harden, who was still on the list for MVP, who wasn't playing like he played in Game 6. Although I don't want to forget to say this: Harden has always done a lot of things in the regular season. When you get that casual one-on-one defense on a Monday night against the Detroit Pistons, right? As soon as the playoffs happen and teams start implementing actual defense and strategies to stop you, James Harden fails every single time. And the effort that I saw in Game 6 was totally offensive. He quit. He literally was not trying. He wasn't limping. He wasn't grabbing his hamstring. He gave up because he doesn't care. He's going to go get his regular season numbers again, and when the playoffs come back around and Eric Spoelstra throws the kitchen sink at people, James Harden's going to do the same thing. That's just what I think. If I'm wrong, I will sit up here and tell you I'm wrong. But I wish I had more time, Rasan, but thank you, man. I appreciate you for keeping it a buck. Say what you think, man. Always say what you think. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. I'm glad that we at least agreed that he could possibly get back to Brooklyn numbers.
I hope he does. It's our only chance. I hope he does.
Facts. If I can just eliminate that narrative of Houston Harden, we at least accomplished something, man. But I appreciate you having me on, though.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. I agree. You're not going to get Houston Harden. I guess if you can get Brooklyn Harden, we stand a chance at something. Kilowatt's hanging out that whole time, man. What's up, Kilowatt?
Guy. What's up, DJ?
What's going on?
Sorry about the double audio, man. I'm just turning you down right now.
It's all good, man.
I can't. The James Harden thing is the James Harden thing. The major thing I want to address is the city of Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love, the city of blue collar folk. We appreciate hard work, right?
Yep.
If you're not putting the work in the gym, you're not practicing with the team, you're not going to reap the fruits of your labor. And it's questionable at this point in time for us. And I think we can, at this point in time, question James Harden's work ethic. He is playing with a 7-footer. He should not be having these kinds of results. I don't think, just like our boy Benny, this man was willing to put into the system. I think he showed up. He looked inside and he's like, I don't know if I could do all this. And he literally, as you say, he quit.
Yeah.
I'm not in the position where I'm willing to entertain this hamstring injury and make excuses and whatever. We want to see the product, right? And the product is not bringing what we anticipated we were going to get. Straight up.
No, it's not. And you can make the argument also that, a lot of people say this. As soon as the NBA started to say, hey, you know what? We're going to start to call things on the floor. We're not going to give you free throws for taking 2 dribbles at the 3-point line and throwing the ball straight up in the air. Harden's game changed probably more than anybody's when they stopped calling that stuff. Trae Young, James Harden, a couple other players. Damian Lillard struggled with it too.
And here's... sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So here's a joke about James Harden. If you watch his jugular, like his neck, right, which is like where, as a defender, you're supposed to be staring, like his eyes, obviously, but his jugular for movements, right, you can telegraph his stuff. And that's the thing. As a player, as a man who sits there and attempts to lull you to sleep, it doesn't take long for a young defender who's keen to get at you to start breaking you down, look at your eyes, look at your movements, and figure out where things are going to go, right? You're going to cop a 3, get an and one here and there. But the long-term 84-game stretch, bro, we're going to come through you and find out the transparency of your game, man. It doesn't take long for those wheels to fall off that wagon. Not these days, right? Eric Spoelstra's just Spoelstra. He's a genius.
Yeah, he took him completely out of it. And then he said Harden's not going to do anything to us. Now let's just quadruple team Joel Embiid and we're good to go. Maxey's a little bit too young to handle the pressure. Tobias Harris, I don't know. He feeds off of other people that are playing well. He's not really a shot creator himself. Yeah, that's what it was.
So my last question proposition to you is, and I know I'm going to throw it out there because I'm the crazy guy. Joel Embiid wearing a Heat uniform. Could that potentially happen? Am I crazy? Talk to me, man.
I think it could. I think Joel Embiid's been too nice and humble his whole career. I think he's put up with almost, 7 years now of the franchise letting him down and not putting, like he said, dogs around him that can get it done in the playoffs. PJ Tuckers and Jimmy Butlers, and even though they had Jimmy Butler, they made the wrong decision. As he gets closer to 30 years old, he's not stupid. He's going to say, I don't have much time left. I want to live the good life. I want to go dominate in the NBA Finals. I don't see why he would stick around here. If they don't get it done this year or the year after that, I don't see why he would come back at 31 years old and be like, oh, maybe they'll do it for me this year. Maybe I'll get enough guys that I can win this year.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So, last question of that. This is part B to my question to you, my proposal to you. If the Heat win the championship this year, and then you see Joel Embiid put on a Heat uniform this year, do you call him a sellout like a KD kind of deal here? Or do you just kind of let it run and be like, yo, he's doing him and putting himself where he needs to be? What do you think about that? That's my last question.
That's a good way to put it, man, because KD was a sellout for that. I wasn't mad at KD leaving OKC. I just thought he should have went to another team and tried to build his own super team to try to take down the team that he couldn't beat. I don't know. I think Joel Embiid can just do whatever he wants because he's dealt with this franchise for long enough. And we got a couple more years to try to get it done. Then he's going to be like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. But I don't think I would call him a sellout because that Warriors team was already so overpowered. Like, I think that's part of the narrative too. Like, if the Miami Heat were dominating teams and going 73-9 and walking their way to the NBA Finals, then it would be like, oh, he went and joined the best team of all time so he could get a ring.
I would absolutely love, right? And again, Joel Embiid got my heart, right? When the Raptors, because again, I telling you, I live in Toronto, right? I'm a hometown Raptors fan, but I support the big man. I support the city of Philly. Like, love the way everybody comes to town. Now, when Embiid walked off that floor after Kawhi hit that shot crying, I'm like, yo, this guy, he loves the game of basketball. And to see him back now, right, as I say, the king is back. To see him put on a Heat uniform next year and run with Eric and those boys, that would be an absolutely amazing thing to see. I think that would be a nice compliment to the team.
I would be happy for Joel Embiid, but I would probably lead a protest in the city of Philly for everybody, for Josh Harris to sell the team, because that would be the final straw. Like, you failed,
right?
You failed at so many things, and then you eventually lost the only thing you got out of the entire process. That would
time
be
to go, boy.
That would be the lowest of the low. Yeah. Yo, thanks for calling
DJ,
in, man.
Be well. Take care, buddy.
You too, bro. Chawl up in the Discord, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. What's up, man?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, man. What's up?
Well, first of all, I'm from the UK, so I want to say shout out to everyone in America.
Shout out to the UK, man.
Thank you very much. I'm just an NBA fan in general, so I thought I'd come on and share my thoughts on Philadelphia, because I reviewed I've actually reviewed the Philadelphia Heat game when Philadelphia got embarrassed in their own hometown. just everything about that team just didn't have any fight, any passion or anything like that. And, you know, I think I just sort of quote the last guy. I think if Joel Embiid sort of puts on a Heat shirt or goes somewhere else, I really wouldn't blame him, because who would want to stay in a team where there's only one, maybe two at best, 2 or 3 at best, players that are trying, and the rest of them aren't really. And the only 3 I can probably name is Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and sometimes Tobias Harris.
I wouldn't blame him at all. I would be very sad, but I wouldn't blame him at all. I mean, I watched this franchise fail at putting the right players around Allen Iverson forever. Nobody was coming at Allen Iverson. That's the thing when people come at Joel Embiid for shooting 27 shots. Nobody was saying, well, why don't you blame Iverson because he shot the ball 35 times. He's the only reason the team is even close to the playoffs. He's shooting it 30 times because he's got Eric Snow and Aaron McKee out here. You know, and they failed to put players around him for 11 years, and they finally traded him. And, you know, I watched him fail. That whole thing was a fail. So this one's looking like a fail also.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I see the stories today that they're trying to land another, you know, big star for next season. Reports suggesting that someone who could fit the bill is Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. Would I think that he would do a job in the Sixers? It's hard to say. Obviously, there's potential in the free agency, but you just need a team that's going to give their all for the people of Philadelphia. I know all too well from British basketball as well. You need people that's going to try every game. You know, they might have talented players, but if you don't put 100% effort in, game out, no matter what the schedule is and how crazy it is, then what's the point in playing the sport of basketball? You know, you've got to have a team that's going to be willing to give everything and give their heart and their blood and their passion for the city you're playing for. So for me, I think you've got to have a team that's, you know, there or thereabouts in terms of effort. And the way I would probably do it is what many people, in fact, nearly all the people in the NBA are thinking, and that is don't give Harden that extension, first of all. I would be looking to possibly even trade him on if anyone would take him. Like I said, Bradley Beal, I think that would be an interesting name in the Sixers lineup. I think that would be an experienced name as well, someone who's known the NBA for a while, someone who knows the game, knows the league. I think he'd be a great experienced name for the franchise.
Right.
But also you've got to look at the draft as well, because the draft's going to draft up a couple of good young prospects that you're going to have to build up. So the Sixers are going to think long-term and short-term here in the free agency and the draft. But, you know, we'll see what happens. But I think this could be the final straw for the Sixers ownership. But
the Sixers, they only get good players out of the draft who are lottery picks that are basically a lock to be good players. Tyrese Maxey fell to 21. The Sixers don't develop any young players from the draft. There hasn't been a young player that the Sixers drafted late that they made into anything significant in a long time.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I think how the Sixers regroup and bringing people over the postseason, I think it all depends on that Harden extension. I think that's where the cap space and how much cap space you're going to work with comes into play. So I think everything sort of relies on that Harden extension. Do they take it and reduce the cap space, or do they expand the cap space by not giving Harden that extension? But listen, shout out to you, man. And like I said, I reviewed the Philadelphia game as a neutral, and just the lack of effort just really shocked me. And
yeah,
I went in on James Harden. You know, personally, I don't know if I'm allowed to plug anything, but I did go in on James Harden.
Is it on YouTube? Where is it?
So my channel's just called Chow. So at first I sort of did Doncaster Rovers Football Club content or soccer back in the UK. But I've also been broadcasting on the NBA as well. So, you know, going into that more. So, it's great to try and force that career.
I'll check it out. Hey, send a link to me on Instagram or Twitter, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Shout out to everyone in Philadelphia, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. What a call in, man. The lack of effort is what got me to it, and getting the perspective from somebody from the outside, not a Sixers fan, just looking at the team from the outside and witnessing that lack of effort. I completely agree. Yeah. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me today. 265 people still in here. Please hit the like button. Tomorrow at noon, Be right back here. I'm going to start some Philadelphia Eagles talk pretty soon because I think I've gotten all of my opinions out on the Philadelphia 76ers and what happened this past playoffs and season and everything. So I'm going to start ramping up the Eagles talk on this channel to get prepared for the NFL season. Tonight at 9 o'clock, 4-point play. Don't miss that. Myself and the 4-point play guys, and I'm going to get all of their opinions on what happened this offseason and probably some predictions and anticipations for the Eagles season coming up. So check us out at 9 o'clock tonight. Lunchtime stream tomorrow at 12. And I'm working on an exclusive Philadelphia Eagles weekly show every Wednesday night with some co-hosts. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to Rasan for calling in and telling us all why we should believe in James Harden. Thank you to the other callers. Peace.